Hey everybody, welcome to Gregsbeerreviews. Let's go see what's in the fridge today. Hey everybody, thanks for stopping by Gregsbeerreviews. Today we got us a mystery beer here. This is Kaweah, K-A-W-E-A-H. This is their Giant Series FE Barrel Aged Imperial Stout. This comes in at 11.1%. I don't have IBUs listed here on this. Not sure it's actually got it on the bottle anywhere. 11.1 alcohol it does. Barrel aged in bourbon barrels. They're out of Tulare, California. The foothills of the Sierra Mountain Range around the Kaweah River. Once inhabited by the Yokuts people, the word Kaweah is thought to mean the cry of the raven in the Yokuts language. So it's got a raven right here on the side of the bottle, a little black raven on there. And that's all the information it has here. And going to both beer sites, nobody has reviewed this beer on either site. So I'm on my own on this one. So this was sent to me by Ruben. So Ruben, thanks a bunch, brother, for sending this to me. Looks like it's a very small brewery since nobody has done any reviews on this beer yet. So I guess I'm the first. Commercial description says bottled bourbon barrel aged, part of the Giant Series. That's all it says. Over to the food pairing for this style of beer, being a Russian Imperial Stout. It's going to be your typical Russian Imperial Stouts. Goes well with your chocolate dishes, of course. And glassware, pint, backernonic tumbler, or snifter. I'm going to use my favorite glass, the Sovereign beer glass, and can be sold for a long period of time. 11.1%. This beer is going to keep 5, 10, 15, even 20 years if you sell it correctly. So that's all we're going to have to talk about on this one. And this one's got the little shrunk wrap cap on, covering on the cap. So I guess I need to try to, I don't think it's wax, it may be. Let's see if we can get the seal broke on this, where I can get the opener underneath of it and get it off without getting a bunch of little particles down in there. It does look like wax, but it's a very thin wax, unusual style of wax. Usually it's all run down in bottles with big beads and stuff on it, and this one is not. So kind of thin wax, if you will. See if I can get it. Nice little hiss. A few openers left, not very many. Probably got 3 or 4 of them left here. If you need one, give me a shout. And this is what we don't want to fall down into the glass of the beer we're drinking. Not a big fan of the wax. I'm really not, or the foil. The beer is under pressure. It's trying to get out. Air, it's not going to get in. And we're still getting little bitty pieces on here. I don't want that to get down into the beer. I'm pretty sure this is probably not a cheap beer, being bourbon barrel aged. And in a 22-ounce bomber. There, I think we got it clean enough to try to give it a pour. So let's do that. Let's get it into the glass. And being 11%, see it's going to generate it. Yeah, we're going to get a little hit, so I'm not going to pour it too aggressive here. It's not pitch black coming out of the bottle, guys. Whew, I'm getting the bourbon from here, though. Very nice. That pour give us about 1.5 fingers, almost 2 fingers of head. Over to the light. Not getting any through the big bulb part of the glass. Down around the bottom, I'm getting some ruby redness around the outside of the thin. So it's pretty dark. Just a little bit of rubiness around the thin part of the glass. Not getting anything around the big part. So Nice looking Imperial Stout. Let's get a nose on it. Definitely getting the bourbon. It's not overpowering like some of them are, but it definitely has a nice bourbon. I'm getting some bourbon and hints of vanilla, chocolate, maybe a little coffee in there and some darker fruit. Wonderful smell. Let's give it a taste. Cheers, everybody. Cheers, Ruben. Thank you, brother. Wonderful nose. A little thinner mouthfeel than what I was expecting from this big beer. It's a little on the thin side. Rich roasted malt, chocolate, a little bit of vanilla from the barrel. Hints of a little bit of a licorice in there and some darker fruit, maybe some figs or dates or figs, dates or raisins. But a little on the thin side on the mouthfeel. Very well made, not giving a lot of the alcohol. There is a slight hint of it, but it's not overpowering or burning or anything down the throat for 11.1%er. Very nice. And the bourbon is not overpowering either, so evidently they didn't leave it in the bourbon cask or barrels very long, or maybe it's a reused barrel. It's had beer in it once before or so. Got a good nose of bourbon though. Just it's more bourbon in the nose than it is in the taste. But the bourbon is in the taste too. It's just more prevalent in the aroma than it is on the taste. But I'm getting it on the taste. Very nice. Well, let's try the fridge, let's let it warm up and see if any of those other aromas and flavors come out a little bit more. Get it up to room temperature. And see what we end up with on this one, guys. So, I'll be right back. Pour her a glass and we'll sip on it for a while and see what we end up with. I'll be right back. Alright guys, I'm back. Got just a little left here. Looked at the bottle, there is no vintage on it anywhere. Not critical for this style of beer, been 11.1%. It's going to keep for a long, long time, and I would like to see that. I'd like to see at least a month and a year on there. Don't have to have today. I can know whether it was done in January or December in the year. I mean, is this a 2013? Is it a 2014? Is it a 2015? Who knows? Who knows? These guys are not required, and unless the state requires it to, for them to distribute it in that state to put their dating information on there, it's not required. And since there is no reviews from Rate Beer or Beer Advocate on it, nobody has reviewed this beer. I'm kind of thinking they're a pretty small brewery. And if they're going to take the time to put this in a bomber and have somebody at the end of the damn bottling line, dipping each one of these in a wax like this one has, they would, to me, benefit. It's got to be a very substantial thing for this brewery to do a bottle-aged beer. If they're that small, to do a bottle-aged beer and not put a vintage on it somewhere. So I got a problem with that, guys. So let's do the final chug. It's room temperature now. I've been sipping on it about 45 minutes. Still getting the bourbon in there. It's not overpowering. I mean, I've had a lot of other bourbons, barrel-aged beers that are more potent than this in the aroma and the taste. But it's there. It is there. Not your typical black as coal, black as night Imperial Stout, which a lot of them are. It's like used motor oil coming out of the bottle a lot of times, and this one was not. There was a lot of red ruby tinges in there. It reminded me of a porter coming out of an Imperial Porter coming out of the bottle of an Imperial Stout. It's a little on the lighter side, thinner mouthfeel, a tad on the watery side, but it's got a lot of nice qualities on this one beer. Guys, as much as I want to give this a 9 grade or even an 8 grade, I'm going to probably go with the 7. I do think it's a great beer. It's very thin on the mouthfeel for an Imperial Stout. I'm getting the bourbon, I'm getting the roasted malt, I'm getting hints of dark fruit and some hints of some chocolate in there, maybe some vanilla and some dark fruit in there, but it is very light on all those qualities. So yeah, I'm gonna give it to 7, guys. I'm gonna give it to B+. I don't think it's quite to the A grade. It's kicking on the door, but it's not quite to the A grade with the information that I have on the bottle and the information that I'm getting from the websites. Very small brewery, evidently. I've not had anything from these guys before. I enjoyed it. It was very, very tasty, but not up to the par for other 11% Imperial Stouts out there, especially bourbon barrel aged beers. So 7 for me. If I was giving a numeric rating on this one, guys, it would probably be an 88 or an 89. It's pretty tasty, and even if it did have a date, I don't know if that would influence me enough to give it the A grade. It may. I might give it to the 8, which was the A-. I don't think it's a 9 or a 10, but it is very close to being an A grade. But I think the mouthfeel on this and how thin it is and the color of the beer being the red ruby tinge to it, so they pitch black, which most of the 11% Imperial Stouts are, especially bourbon barrel aged. I think it's a little on the thin side, guys. That's where I'm going with that. So yeah, that's where I'm going to leave it. Like I said, there's no ratings from Rate Beer or Beer Advocate at all. None. Nobody's reviewed this beer before. And I do appreciate Ruben picking this up and sending it to me. It was very tasty, but just a little let down from what I was expecting for an 11% bourbon barrel aged beer. The bourbon is there, and like I said, it doesn't seem to be a first run bourbon barrel, maybe a second run bourbon barrel. I am getting the bourbon, but it's not off the chain, and the beer is not pitch black like a lot of the 11% Russian Imperial Stouts are, and the mouthfeel is kind of thin compared to what some of the others that I've had are. So, very tasty. It was very tasty. I enjoyed it very much. Final beer of the evening on this particular beer. Once I get to this size beer, I don't drink anything after that. So this is the final beer of the evening. So very nice. It was very nice. Not quite to the A category in my opinion, guys. So if you've had this one from Kaweah Brewing, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Kaweah Brewing Company, and they're out of California. Let's see, and it's on the bottle here. They're out of Tulare, California. Let me know what you think if you've had it. I enjoyed it. It was tasty. I don't know, without some kind of vintage on it, if it was available here, whether I would buy it again or not. But it was decent. It was decent. Definitely above average, but not quite to the A scale. So let me know if you've had this one from them. And as always, guys, come on back. Let's go see what's in that fridge tomorrow. We'll dig something out. Come on back. I'll see you then.